If you're not listening to the Smoke World podcast, you're wasting your time, you mortal.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Smoke World. I'm your host, Stone. So go grab that stick, go grab a glass of whatever you're drinking. Let's sit back and have that conversation. You can follow me on Instagram, Smoke World Podcast. The email, stone at smokeworldpodcast.com. And if you've been listening, I'll wait. Okay, you're new. smokeworldpodcast.com is the website. Go check out the website. Great sponsors on the website, things to do, things to see. That's what we do. Speaking of sponsors, shout out to Rabbit. They shot me one of the air purifiers, the minus A3. All right, here's the question, folks. It's hot outside right now, so you may be indoors because of the air condition. But the fall comes, you sit outside for a little bit. When it gets cold, you retreat back into the indoors. So long story short, all I'm going to say is this Rabbit actually works. This may allow you to smoke in your home. Now, while you're smoking a cigar, is that going to stop that? No, not at all. But it does kill the odor the next day. So within 24 to 36 hours, you come back in that room that you smoked in. Hey, guess what? I can't tell you smoked in the room. So shout out to the Rabbit. Check it out. The Rabbit Air.com is the website. But listen, folks, this episode, I'm chilling with my man, Shirtless Mike. Okay? I got my shirt on because I'm not working out. I'm not drinking no milk. I'm not doing none of that. I'm doing a few push-ups. But it's all good. It's all good. But nonetheless, we sit down. We have a little conversation. I attempted to be on the show, but every time, 2 times to be exact, it didn't work. So it's all good. So I brung my brother, Shirtless Mike, on. We have a conversation, trying to get a little idea how he started, what he's doing, what he's doing, what he's talking about, all that good stuff out in these streets, man. So look, sit back, grab your stick, grab a glass, and enjoy the show. And I will check you out on the other side, all right? Shirtless Mike is in the building. Welcome to Smoke World. What's up, my brother? What's going on with you, man?
What's going on, man? I appreciate you for having me on the show after the tech issues that we had on my show.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? It's like, I've been watching like 5,000 people get on the show. As soon as I get on there, they're like, nah, we don't like this dude face. This ain't going to work.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I just got to come on your show. We can talk the real shit. I like getting an interview too. It's less work for me.
Hell yeah. Like I said, well, my podcast is laid back. We chill, talk about whatever. Freestyle, Willie Lump Lump. So what's up, man? I just finished talking to you, telling me your air went out, bro. What's up, man? It's too hot for that.
Yeah, man, it's hot in Florida. And, I'm always shirtless when I'm at home or whatever. But, not having no AC inside the house, man, that's rough. So I'm just hanging out at my job, smoking in 72 in beautiful Merritt Island, Florida, smoking a cigar, sitting up here at the bar, having some coffee, smoking my father El Centurion.
Nice. Okay, now for folks that don't know, you just mentioned, is that where you from? You from Florida?
Yeah, I'm from Brevard County, Florida. I was born in Melbourne, but I grew up mostly in Rockledge and Cocoa area. Come from a working class family. My parents, we lived in Rockledge, and then after they got divorced, my mom eventually moved to Cocoa, and me and my brother lived in Cocoa, which Cocoa's kind of like the hood area. Thank God I never got involved in any craziness or whatever, but I've always grew up like around the hood and the suburbs. My mom still lives on like the outskirts right now, so just a humble upbringing, and come from a good family that I had a good life, and I can't complain for sure.
Okay, interesting. Now, see, every time I talk to somebody who's from Florida or going to Florida, I'm always finding about a different spot in Florida. So is Cocoa the same as Cocoa Beach? Is that different?
No, it's very different. Cocoa's like, it's like the central part of Brevard County. and you got to go over a few different bridges. So, when you go over the first bridge, that's Merritt Island, on State Road 520, which that goes all the way to Orlando to Cocoa Beach. But, so when you cross the 520 bridge, you end up in Merritt Island, which is where I work at. And then you go all the way through Merritt Island, you go over a couple bridges, then you're in Cocoa Beach. So when all the rappers come to town, they're like, if a promoter from Cocoa, they'll be like, the rapper, will make like a video, be like, man, Cocoa Beach, I'm coming to see you, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, yo, it's Cocoa, not Cocoa Beach.
So it's a difference. Okay, see, that's a major difference right there, brother. So Cocoa Beach and Cocoa, not the same thing.
Yeah, Cocoa Beach is, it's the beach area, and then Cocoa, it's like, it's the hood. A lot of it's the hood. There's some country parts of Cocoa too that's real ducked off, but in the city, it's just a small little area. It's kind of like the murder capital of Brevard County. A lot of stuff happens. It's such a small area that whenever stuff happens, it seems to happen like all at one time, and so. A lot of stuff. It's such a small population. When stuff happens, it brings up the numbers, pretty high. So they kind of call Cocoa like the murder capital of Brevard County, unfortunately.
Damn. So okay. In other words, you're saying if you're moving to Florida, don't move down to Cocoa. In so many words, is that what you're saying, Mike?
Yeah, and then there's certain parts of Cocoa, like Port St. John, or they still consider that Cocoa, but that's not like the heart of Cocoa, or like Canaveral Groves area. They still consider parts of that Cocoa. That's okay, but North Fisk, it's not a destination spot. It's more for people who kind of grew up around this area. A lot of people grew up around this area. Been here for generations, so on and so forth.
All right. So with all that, is it warm? Is it South Florida? Is at least the weather warm? Does it stay warm all year round? Can I go down there and stay in my shorts all year?
Yeah, pretty much. We have a few days out of the year in, December and January where it might maybe once a year get down to the 30s, but it's very rare. The most we get down to is like the 50s and 40s, high 40s. So, most of the time it is pretty warm. It's hot right now. This is the hot time of the year. That's why I'm always shirtless when I'm at home, and people will be like, "Why is this? Why is he shirtless, Mike?" Well, come to Florida and get off of work. I get in my basketball shorts. I'm shirtless, and I wasn't trying to make a name for being shirtless, Mike. It just kind of happened, so I just ran with it.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that, bro. I was gonna say, yo, how did you get into becoming Shirtless Mike?
Yep, that's exactly how it happened, just like that. Hold on. Okay, there goes.
So just
That's
like that.
exactly
Boom.
how it happened.
So you got hot. You come
like
home because you was hot. Take your shirt off. Go outside. Or stand. I mean, I guess folks were seeing you somewhere. You was like, yo, you're flexing your muscles.
Yeah, the Hearst zone. You've seen it. It's just my garage. I have a couch in there and everything, and so that's where I smoke. Generally at nighttime. I have a fan in there or whatever to make it a little bit better. But yeah, so I would get off of work and be shirtless, and that's just how I am. And I would just take pictures, and I'm a member of various cigar groups, and then some people show love, some people start trolling me, but eventually it just kind of caught on. I was like, I just need to run with this because it's very unique, and from now I have a lot of reach of people, so it's definitely a blessing, for something that kind of accidentally came about, but then I just ran with it because I saw the benefit of it, the value of it, and I'm just happy about it now.
Yeah, no doubt. So how long has Shirtless Mike been rocking Shirtless Mike?
It's been probably like over 6 years, as far as not officially though. Probably like 2 or 3 years I made it official. But being around the cigar community online, it's been like over 6 years now. I started off, I was a part of C2 Cigar Cartel, and they had a HERF at Smoking and Boynton Beach. That was the very first like official big cigar event that I went to. It was just a weekend thing, and so that amount of time. But I've been smoking cigars for like 15 years, like period. So. Officially Shirtless Mike has been like about 2 to 2 to 3 years ish, just on an official level. And then it's, before that, it was just kind of it's just kind of a thing, before I made it official.
Oh, that's what's up then. Okay, so now I know you've been talking to a lot of different people, brother, based on being the Shirtless Mike, the known Shirtless Mike. So, quick question on that.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the folks you talked to, if you recall, who do you think was your most interesting guest? And that leaves an impression in your mind to say, damn, yo, that was either a cool sis or cool brother that I rock with, had a good conversation with, good vibes, down the earth. Does anyone come to mind?
Oh, of course. Matt Booth is the number one. He's always interesting. He's a personal friend outside of just having him on my show, whatever. I talk to him on a regular basis, and just having him on the show is just always an interesting experience because no matter if you have notes or no notes or whatever, he's gonna throw you off in some way, and he makes it fun. And there's people that I've watched his a couple weeks ago. He was on after a year of being on Hearthstone. After the first time was a year ago of being on Hearthstone Live. And, I had people say it was very, entertaining and all that. And it was mostly just because he was throwing me off with, but it makes it fun. So Matt Booth is my number one. He's given me a ton of shout outs on other people's shows. It's a bromance,
That's what's up. Now, is he a Florida guy? Where's he from? Where Matt Booth from?
He's from he lives in Washington State, originally from the Pacific Northwest. He was originally in California and stuff. And he's back in Washington State now from Room 101 Cigars.
Okay, that's what's up. See, that's good stuff. Now, you know what I find interesting, bro? When we talking to folks, and I don't say interview because I don't do interviews, and I'm not like a news guy, so I just have a conversation. But
yeah, it
makes it hard for individuals who come on your show and really just answer kind of like yes or no. Do you find that to be a difficult thing? Like, okay, this is going to be real quick because these cats ain't talking. You ask them a question, they're like, yeah. No, you're like, okay, come on, man. Wake up, man.
It's a little nerve-wracking at times. Luckily I get people that generally like to talk, because it makes the interview a lot easier. But yeah, sometimes, I can have a ton of questions prepared and it's like we get through it so quick and then I just have to start freestyling, on what to talk about, which I always keep stuff in my arsenal, but it's a little nerve-wracking, but it's just part of the game, and eventually you learn how to get past that, and then you're able to, you're really able to perfect your craft,
Yeah, I call him out, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I call him out. I'm like, listen, man, you need to start talking, okay? Just one answer, one word. Oh, yes, no, I don't remember. Come on, man. What kind of guest are you? I'll put him out there, bro. I'm just letting you know, Mike. I put him out there. I don't give two hot dams. So let's talk a little bit cigar talk.
Luckily, I like to talk.
Yes. I mean, again, like I said, it's a conversation. I tell folks, look, I'm not interviewing you. You're having a conversation. This ain't no interview. This is not CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. I'm not here to trick you, pull you into some funny stuff. Just having a conversation about what we do and what we love. That's it. That easy.
Absolutely.
That easy, bro. So you say you've been smoking for 15 years, brother.
Yeah,
nice.
Ever since I was 18 years old. I'm 33 now. And a funny story, the shop that I work at now, which we've been here almost 2 years in this spot, over a year of officially being open. But when I first started buying cigars, they used to be at a little shop in the Merritt Island Mall. And it was probably like a 400 or 500 square foot shop. And so it was the first place I went and bought cigars at. And now, 15 years later, now we're in a big spot. It's 5,000 square feet, beer, wine, wine-based liquor. We got a coffee area, private lounge. We got a pool table here. So I'm blessed to, they were a part of my early days. Now I'm a part of the new early days at the new shop that helped bring Smoke Ring 72 forward. So, and I've been here for like a year now, so it's been a blessing for sure.
Okay, let's talk about the shop. All right, so do they have membership? What's the membership? What's their website presence, social media? Let's plug them in, brother. That's where you work at. Yeah. That's your love.
Well,
that's where you started as a young boy.
SmokeRing72.com, Facebook, Smoke Ring 72. I'm the one who runs the social media. So I post everything on, on Instagram, and, also the same thing, Smoke Ring 72 on Instagram. And we got a nice private lounge. It's it's like 500 down and then 150 a month. $50 of that goes towards store credit. You got to use it or lose it though. So if somebody wants to buy a box of cigars, we take $50 off that box, type thing.
Okay.
And it's really nice. It's reminiscent of the old shop in the mall because they had a really small lounge in the mall, and I believe it's some of the same furniture that they had in the mall. It's like the same size of the old lounge. So it's a lot of the old time smoke rings guys are a part of that. We got some new guys that are a part of it, and it's basically a way to preserve the Smoke Ring 72 history. And but yeah, so Facebook, Instagram, Smoke Ring 72, SmokeRing72.com. And so if you ever, here's a little point of reference of people that like to take cruises. They go to Port Canaveral. We're like 10 minutes from where the ships are and everything. We're the only cigar spot, in this part of Brevard County. So when, people come on before they leave on their cruise, they come see us, buy their cigars, and all that. And we're close to Cocoa Beach. It's all relatively the same area. So we're in this part of Brevard. We're the only cigar shop. There's other cigar shops, but within a reasonable distance. We live where people vacation. So
gotcha. Plus you're a lounge. So that's the difference too. A lot of times you're a lounge. So let's talk about working at the cigar shop, because I think in the back of every cigar smoker, which I'm going to just speak frankly, that they wish maybe, damn, you know what? I wish I could work at the cigar lounge because I get to work, get paid, and smoke cigars and chill and talk to people all day. Is it like that or no? Is it that smooth, that easy? How would you describe working at a cigar lounge? You're doing something you love. So
there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I get to interact with people on a daily basis, smoke while I'm working and everything, but it's a lot of work, because I wear a couple hats at the shop. I deal with customer relations, so I'm constantly building relationships with new people. I run the social media, so whenever there's slow times in the shop, I'm on the computer at the shop and, making sure I schedule out content for the week and everything. So I'm always busy doing something. Right now, we're moving to a new POS system, so me and my manager, we're literally scanning every single thing that we have in the shop, checking prices, in the current system, make sure those are correct, and making sure that it's all transferred over to the new system. So, I stay pretty busy. So if you work for a bigger cigar shop that has a lot going on, it's not a bunch of sitting around, It is a lot of work. I literally go home drained at the end of every day, but that's not in a negative sense. I really enjoy what I do, but it's a lot of work. I'm pretty much moving all day long. Like I said, it's a 5,000 square foot building. So, there's the bar area, the coffee area, the retail area, the lounge, a lot of walking all day. But if you work for a smaller cigar shop that, may not have as much foot traffic, then it's, probably a little bit more sitting around and you can kind of relax a little bit more. But, not at the shop I work at, more so because I wear a couple different hats, not just an employee working the counter or the humidor. I got a few different tasks that I do in addition to that. So you have to really, truly live and breathe cigars if you work in a cigar shop or in the cigar industry, period. Like, you may think you really like cigars, but you've got to really truly live and breathe it. Like, I'm here hanging out on my day off right now. And, my boss always asks me while I'm here, I'm like, I'm just hanging out. I'm not going to do any work. I'm just hanging out. I'll do all the work tomorrow.
Damn, you just bust my bubble, man. I was thinking about, damn, me get me a job at the cigar shop. But I'm tired just listening to all that. I'm thinking, maybe not. I'm falling back on that.
When you want to be the number one cigar shop in your area, when you want to provide that customer experience, like no other, you can't cut any corners. You have to always be watching everything like a hawk to make sure, you anticipate people's needs and all that. And, when you go to a cigar shop, you want to feel like you're attended to. And I try to make people feel how I want to feel when I go to a cigar shop. And, that's helped us grow since coming into this new spot. Cause, for a while it was kind of dead on most days, we get people coming in, but now we got a lot more people coming in more often because I'm building those relationships with people. So like I said, if you really truly live and breathe cigars, it's the right job for you. But it has to literally be like just the main staple in your life. You know, almost to an obsession level. Not quite that obsession, but almost to that level.
Man, I need a drink on that note. So, can you bring BYOB in your spot? How does that work? Or no alcohol? What's the deal with your
Now
spot?
we have beer and wine. You know, so we got Guinness, we got a few other stuff on tap. We got a local beer, Bug Nutty Brewing, which is just over the bridge in Cocoa, downtown Cocoa, the nice part of Cocoa. We got, Sierra Nevada Bowigans, which is like another stout, Mango Cart.
Is that
You
now you
know,
can purchase that, or how does that work? That's something you
yeah,
purchase?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You got to purchase it. You can't bring your own stuff in, and we got lot of different craft beers and stuff. I don't do a lot of drinking like I used to. So I'm not that knowledge. My knowledge is where the cigars come into play. That's the reason why I'm here. But during the day, we have a couple of us working, not somebody dedicated to the bar. So I pretend like I'm a bartender on those days, unless I'm closing on Friday nights, and then I don't have to worry about that. But we also have, so we got beer, we got wine, and we also have wine-based liquor, which has, I think, like 25 or 30% less alcohol. So we don't need a liquor license for that because those are hella expensive, like $500,000 for a liquor license. So, we still have the ability to be able to make different cocktails with it. And I've learned how to make a couple drinks, like a smoky old fashioned. I've learned how to make a Long Island iced tea, and I did one margarita. So, but during the day when I'm working, people don't generally ask for that. So I'm more so pouring beers, but it's cool. The drinks turn out really well, especially our bartender Tara. She's our main bartender, and she creates her own drinks too. So whenever she's working, she'll she knows you like that. She'll be like, "Hey, I want you to try this," and then she's just constantly, it's just all in her mind, and just constantly creating some cool drinks with the wine-based liquor.
All right, it's like a long day. Now, you open to closing, or you got certain hours you rocking with?
Monday through Thursday, we open at 10 a.m., close at 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, it's 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then on Sundays, we're open from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay, cool. Now, here's a question for you in reference to your lounge. It's based on my travels that I've been rapping with these Sisters of the Leaf. And at the end of the day, I noticed certain regions have more Sisters of the Leaf than other regions. Where I'm at, So how does it look for Sisters of the Leaf coming to your spot on a regular basis? Do you guys get that type of traffic with the Sisters of the Leaf come in?
We have quite a bit around Brevard County, but to our shop specifically, we have a few that might come in. But we're hoping to grow that, in the future, But we have a lot of women from out of town that are big time. That we had a Sister of the Leaf from Virginia area, and she goes to Brett from, I forgot the name of the shop now. I'm trying to think of it, but anyway, she was in town. She's an engineer, so she found our shop. She felt comfortable here, so that's kind of growing. But in Melbourne, where I live, because I live like 20 minutes away from where I work in downtown Melbourne, they have a lot more women around that area of Brevard County. But this area, the demographic of women is still growing. We got a lady in here smoking right now, her and her family, but not as much as we like. But as time goes on, we'll see a lot more. Actually, we got two ladies smoking right now. So,
what do you think the secret, man? I know I'm asking another male because this is the type of setting that I actually said I was going to do a town hall type of meeting in the tri-state where I'm at, just to sit down with some Sisters of the Leaf and get their opinion on, like, in certain areas, in certain demographics, why aren't there women? Because there's a lot of them who smoke every day. Why they not at the lounge like the guys are on a regular basis without having to be a ladies' night or some special event? What is causing some shops to have women on a regular and other ones, why not? What do you think that may be, bro? Just out of freestyle. Can't go wrong with the answer.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with the general area. Wherever certain women live that smoke cigars, you'll see a lot more of them smoking. And in Merritt Island, Cocoa Beach area, there's not quite as many women. We have a few that generally come in, but I know in downtown Melbourne, my friend Yasmin, she's the head bartender at Executive in downtown Melbourne. She has a ladies only cigar club because she's helped kind of grow that. And it's a downtown area. We don't have like a big city type thing in Brevard County, but it has a smaller version of that big city feel. And so there's going to be a lot. There's a lot more engineers and stuff like that in Brevard in Melbourne area, and people in the tech industry and all that. And this area, we got people that work at the Space Center. We got a lot of guys that work for like Blue Origin and all that. And one of my good friends, Susan, she's here hanging out with her husband. She works for Blue Origin. And
all right, I gotta stop you. I'm sorry, Mike. Blue Origin. I don't even know what that is. So I know listeners might be listening like, what the hell is Mike talking about?
It's a company that I think that's Elon Musk's company. They launched the rockets and everything. So Merritt Island is close. It's close to where the Space Center, and they launched. The space shuttle went up and everything, and they launched rockets out there and all that.
Nice.
Like if you walk outside at the cigar shop when a rocket's launched, you're gonna get a really nice view because it's real close. So
okay.
I think it's just a matter of more women coming in that smoke cigars in this area, and we'll start to see more.
Gotcha.
Of course, we get the travelers, but yeah.
All right, so that's
I still haven't been able to pinpoint it yet, but we have quite a few in this area, but not as much as we want just yet. But it'll happen.
That's what I'm saying. I ain't gonna say it's a magic formula because I know some lounges have women on the regular, other lounges not so much. I'm just trying to figure out. Like I said, I've been promising my listeners this town hall, and I gotta deliver. I'm playing around. I have to deliver. They like, Stone, what's up, man? You said you're gonna do a town hall. Stop playing, man. You full of deep. So I gotta handle it. So I'm gonna change gears and switch gears just a little bit because with your question you may get a lot of times from your friends. They're like, Mike, yo, you doing video? What's up, man? Like, yo, I want to do the same thing, man. How easy is that to do? Like, I can do that. Like, what do I need to do to start? So what would you tell the person who's thinking about becoming the next Shirtless Mike? I can't take my shirt off, Mike, because I don't work out, bro. I don't work out.
So basically, somebody who's trying to, start their own show, podcast, video podcast.
Right. So what advice or what be the pros and cons of all that? Because shirtless, I can't do because, again, I don't work out and drink milk. So I would just turn off the person. They would be like, oh, hell no. Why is he? Oh, hell no. So I would really shock people. It could work in the other way. It could be vice versa. Like, look at this big, fat, nasty dude who's on video with no shirt on. It could work, but I won't try it. So what would you tell folks, man?
My advice is to just start, because I originally started off with Boston Jimmy at Stogie Press, and I wrote for Stogie Press, and then we started our show called Taking It to the Nub. And then once, I almost got myself in trouble, which we could talk more about that later. But, I separated professionally. We're still good friends and all that. He's like my cigar father. But so we separated professionally, and then I took a little time off, and then I was like, I want to start my own thing. So my advice is to just start. Now
I got to cut you. Okay, when you say just start, did you start strictly on video? Or did you do any audio first, podcast, or you strictly went, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going straight into the video.
I went straight to video, but for a while there, I was, getting the audio and everything and putting it on like podcast websites and all that. But then it just became too much. I got too far behind, and I just deleted all the audio because that's people are more into the video now. But yeah, so I knew people that did it. I started using StreamYard because I could broadcast on Facebook and YouTube and everything. And I just started. I started with what I had. I had a really crappy computer, which I got a better one now. And then I just started basically. And then it's all about trial and error. You want to put out the type of content that you want to see. So I don't want to listen and watch the same people that's on everybody else's show. I try to get other people that's, not heavily on other people's shows so they can get their story out. And then it just grew from there. That's how it's going to be. It's going to grow from there if you just start. You just have to be consistent with it. Now, I also used to make regular videos on YouTube, but I eventually kind of stopped doing that because I got so busy, with working at the shop and everything. I wanted to focus my energy on the show because the show has, a good amount of viewers now and everything. So, I just focused on that. You just have to, it's all about how much energy you really want to put into it, basically. And, find out what your happy balance is. So,
Okay, with technology as is today, could they use their cell phone, or they need to go spend money on these cameras and all this different lighting and setups? What's behind the scenes? Because that sounds pretty good. And I agree with you.
yeah.
Just go ahead and start. But could they start with what they have? Most likely,
Yes,
you got a cell
that's
phone.
exactly what I did. I had a crappy computer, and I was just using the regular webcam, and I had to eventually get better internet because it was so grainy in the very beginning. But then once I got a better computer, the picture got a lot better and everything. And to start with what you have, and then once you start getting a following, if you get some sponsors, and you can get all this perfected equipment. I still use just what I have. I just literally just use my computer, and then I used to work at a call center, so like my microphone is like a headset because it's USB, and I just use that. Although I do have a better microphone, I just need to get some better headphones in the future. But it's just kind of easier just to do it that way because it's 2-in-1 type thing. So use what you got and just keep building from there.
Okay, this last question on the video. Now, you mentioned StreamYard. I guess that's a platform or something. That's a package that you can purchase that allows you to stream your video on multiple platforms. Is there other? I guess we don't need whatever ones that are out there. But I'm assuming there are other platforms.
There are a few.
Yeah. Okay. So now, price wise, I mean, not to say you work for anybody, just out of curiosity, because again, a lot of folks listen and they always thinking, "Dang, you know what? I want to do that. I want to do that." But we don't really know where to start, where to begin. So I figured this would be an opportunity for us to share this kind of information if they're thinking about it. Because again, hey, like you said, just go ahead and do it. Just getting a starting point on where they can start doing some stuff. So you mentioned StreamYard. So that break that down. What does that allow them to do with StreamYard?
So I mean, for a while there, I didn't pay. Well, I used somebody else's account and was doing it or whatever. But then I started paying for it myself. So the account that I have, I could stream to like 3 different places, and it's like $25 a month or something like that. But if you have if you don't pay for it, you could broadcast to one location, which is fine. So if you're a person that doesn't have it like that, or you don't want to start spending money on things right away, just sign up for it. It's free, and then you could just broadcast to one location. And there's nothing to download. It's literally, it works best on your computer. But I know you've seen my background and everything. That you can, if you start paying for it, you can create your own background and all that. Overlay and all that. So
okay.
You can start off free, but unless you're doing like some high production stuff, the $25 a month one is probably your best bet because Facebook is where everybody's at, and YouTube's where everybody's at. So that's all you really need, and then you can capture those people by broadcasting from those locations. If you have the other version, if you use LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, you can broadcast to more locations. But if you don't have a following on those locations, it's kind of not really worth it. You're just broadcasting just to broadcast to those locations. So.
Gotcha. So go where your followers are at, or your friends.
Yeah, the cheaper pay plan is probably the best. Once you start paying for it. But for a while there, I was just doing the free version and just broadcasting just to YouTube, and that way I could get my followers up on YouTube. I just reached 500 subscribers. I could have been past that. I appreciate it. I could have been past that if I made regular videos too. But like I said, I wanted to focus just on the show. So 500 is a good feat, especially if I only broadcast on there like once a week. And it's good stuff, man.
Hell yeah, brother. Like I said, congratulations on that, man. Like I said, I know you at the shop, brother. I ain't gonna hold you, man. I'm just
I have all the time in the world because I ain't doing shit, man. So
yeah, like I said, I feel kind of bad to me. I'm thinking like, damn, you ain't got no air when you leave the shop. You gotta go home.
I was expected to do the interview, So don't worry about it. I'm just hanging out, bro.
Oh, that's what's up, man. I appreciate you being gracious with your time. But yeah, so at the end of the day, man, I want you to get that location again. Where that shop, which is what, Smoke 72?
Smoke Ring 72. It's 925 North Courtney Parkway in Merritt Island, Florida. Beautiful shop. You know, if you look them up, if you look us up on Google and all of that, there's plenty of pictures. You see the old shop, but then you can see like how nice the new shop is. Got beautiful brick walls. It's not like real brick, but it's it's fake brick, but looks really nice to add to the ambiance. And it's if you're a true cigar smoker, it's paradise for you.
Nice. Now, how big is your humidor?
I
Roughly.
forget the dimensions, but
Yeah, I'm putting you on
there's
the
about
spot with that.
10,000. Yeah. I mean, there's about 10,000 individual cigars inside there, and we're also going to get some new shelving soon to be able to add like 30 or 40 more facings of cigars. So it's pretty big, but it's twice the size of the humidor in the mall. But we're already running out of space, so we're going to get some different shelving for like the middle of it pretty soon, hopefully. And we also have a high-end humidor where, we got like Davidoffs and stuff like that in there. We got Atabay, Byron, Bandoleros, all that good. And all the expensive shit we keep in a separate humidor.
All that robbery homicide price stuff.
Yeah. And then we also have a flavored cigar cabinet humidor as well. So it's all like kind of like by each other. So if you like the flavored cigars like acids or, Tobacco Special or Deadwood series. We got Tatianas, we got all that too, and we just keep it in the separate humidor.
Gotcha. Now I know you guys didn't go to the PCA, but do you guys have any plans to go to the TPE in February? Any conversation with that? You don't know?
Yeah, I have no idea. Hopefully, we'll be at PCA next year. Because my boss went like the year before I started working here. And he said that he'll have to bring me at some point. This was before I even started working here. So hopefully, the next time the PCA is taking place, I don't think he would be, he's going to go to one or the other, not both or whatever. So it's more likely he'll do PCA because he's a PCA member. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this year, not so much. But we did get our hands on the Padron 95. Can't reveal our sources because we were not at PCA. It's a PCA exclusive, but just say, we got a guy.
Okay, y'all got the hookup. That's what we call it. Yo, my man know the man who know the man. We got the hookup. And at the end of the day, we got what you need. Can't reveal any
sources or nothing like that. All I could say, a lot of us that work here, I'm part Italian, my boss is Italian. We got a guy.
Okay, you put a little mafia move on me. All right, that's what's up. No doubt. Ain't no doubt. You know what I mean? Forget about it. Forget about it. You doing things. You making moves, brother. You making moves. But look, bro, where can people find you at on social media so they can follow you? Make sure they're checking out YouTube, Shirtless Mike. Give them all the information where they can find you at on social media, brother.
Yeah, man. My Instagram is Shirtless Mike 2020. You could add me on my personal page. I don't care. I got over 3,000 people on there. So Mike Holmes, and then my page is Shirtless Mike on Facebook, and YouTube is Team Shirtless Mike.
Nice. Now, is there anything that I didn't ask, or maybe that you wanted to get out there that I didn't ask you, brother, that you want the folks to know before we?
Yeah, actually, with a friend and customer of mine, Bobby Caruso, we just started a secondary podcast. It was his idea. He came to me like last month. It was like, hey, I want to start a podcast called Gangsters and Cigars, talk about, organized crime type stuff. He's retired law enforcement, and we just recorded our first episode here at the shop last night. We're not doing this live. We're just recording it. It's a video podcast. So the YouTube for that is Gangsters and Cigars. It's still pretty fresh. We got almost 100 views on our first episode.
Nice.
On YouTube, which that'll probably help us out because we're not a strictly cigar show. So hopefully YouTube doesn't shadow ban us like that. Because,
that's getting gangster, bro.
Yeah, hopefully, because with, cigar related content on YouTube, like, I'm pretty sure that they don't show, my YouTube videos to as many people because, I talk about cigars and it's more so cigar related. But with this, we're smoking cigars, and the cigars aren't necessarily the focal point except for like a few minutes in the show. So yeah, Gangsters and Cigars is kind of a pet project. It was his idea, so we just kind of work on it together. I told him, I said, I got to keep personal lives. You know, I got to make sure I work on everything first with that. But I'll be your co-host on that, and he does a lot of getting the guests and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll have some good guests here real soon. And it was just the first episode last night. Everybody's loving it so far. So yeah, it's definitely it's pretty cool.
That's what's up, bro. Shirtless Mike, the man, the legend, down there in the heat with no air. We love you, brother. Appreciate you being on the show.
I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely,
it's the least
bro.
I can do since
since they ain't like my face, man.
The
internet guys didn't like my face for whatever. It's like, yo, we can't deal with this guy's face.
I mean, that's the first time that's ever happened, and I'm like, how could this be? Like, I still haven't figured it out yet. But
that's all good, baby. You here now. It's all good. We talking. We making things happen, brother. So I appreciate you, man. Stay cool. Stay in touch with me, bro. And maybe we can make it work one day, man. Maybe we can make it happen. Simple as that.
I mean, what I'll probably, if I ever make it to your neck of the woods, I'll just bring my computer and we'll just fucking do it in person.
There you go. Vice versa, man. That's a bet.
That way it's only one device doing it.
Right. That's a bet. All right, my brother. I appreciate you, man. You be safe down there, brother. Thank you for being a guest, man. Take care, bro.
Problem.
Be safe.
All right.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Well, folks, there you have it. Shirtless Mike and Stone with his clothes still on because he's not working out or drinking milk, people. Brother Shirtless Mike, my man, appreciate you, Mike, being a guest on Smoke World. Well, look, folks, you can follow me on Instagram, Smoke World Podcast. Email stone@smokeworldpodcast.com and the website, smokeworldpodcast.com. Folks, I want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for listening to this crazy, what they call podcast world. I don't take anything for granted. Guess what? Love you, folks. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe. Maybe I'll see you on the other side. But look, I look forward really to sitting down, having a smoke and a drink with all that I can. Thank you. God bless you. And I'll check you out on the other side. All right? Peace.